Because isn't it supposed to be one person who's essentially choosing between two other people? Like, that's not a triangle, that's an upside down V. Hi and welcome to my channel. My name is Sarah and I love to talk about books. And I have a confession to make. I'm crap at tags. I don't keep track when somebody tags me, and even if I actually do remember someone's tagged me, I then forget to do it. So Ange from Ange's Book Chatter tagged me in this last year. I'm finally getting to it because I found it noted down in an old notepad. So this is the unpopular opinions tag. It was originally created by the book Archer, but she doesn't seem to have posted a video in about a year, so I don't know if she'll be back, but I'll post her details in the description below, as well as those of the wonderful Ange, and also the questions, just in case you feel like doing this tag yourself. Question number 1 is a popular book or series that you didn't like. So I say it all the time, I don't read enough series to wade in on this one, I don't think, but I suppose two books that I wasn't crazy about, but which are kind of seen as modern classics, were Kurt Vonnegut's The Slaughterhouse-Five and Joseph Heller's Catch-22. I didn't hate either of them, but I didn't really enjoy them, and I certainly wouldn't reread the books or read anything else by those authors. They just ain't me. Slaughterhouse, I remember really not vibing with, like, there's like some sort of alien abduction storyline, didn't like that. Catch-22 just lost me in the nonsense that it frequently descends into. I understand the point of both of those things in those books, but it's like oysters, right? People make a big deal about them being delicacies, but personally I just think eating them is an experience akin to swallowing a blob of phlegm. That sounds much harsher on those books than I meant it to. So it's been a few hours since I filmed that first wee bit, because I've been in A&E. I was suddenly overcome by these horrible pains and had to go to the hospital where they suspect I've got gallstones. But I legit thought I was having a heart attack or had like a pulmonary embolism or something. That was some serious pain. I couldn't breathe. It was terrifying. I really want to get this filmed and uploaded and everything, so I don't want to miss getting this up tomorrow. But I do apologise in advance. I have had morphine a couple of hours ago. I think it's probably still affecting my cognitive abilities, so hopefully I can salvage some coherent answers for you guys. I also look probably quite a mess. I've tried to salvage my makeup, but I don't think it's done very well. But I'm determined to get this video filmed, so bear with me, because I'm going to get this done and then I would quite like to go for a little lie down. So where the fuck was I? So I think I'd answered question 1, so I'll go on to question 2, which is a popular book or series that everyone else seems to hate but that you love. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. Donna Tartt's The Little Friend is her best book, because like people who like her love The Secret History, but The Little Friend has, for me at least, like none of the pretension of The Secret History, and I say that totally with love because I do like The Secret History, but this has none of the pretension of that. I think it's got a far more compelling story and a much better protagonist. So this is the story of Harriet, who's the youngest of, I think it's 3 children, and she was just a baby when her 10-year-old brother Robin was horrifically killed in the family's garden. And Harriet is now nearing the age that Robin was when he died, and she really wants to finally solve the crime of who killed him. But this book isn't a mystery or a thriller. Instead, it's just this, you get immersed in the life of this amazing headstrong girl, her family, which is a cast of characters if there ever was one, and the story is also about this kind of family from the wrong side of the tracks, one of whom Harriet is convinced is behind her brother's death. And so in the space of one summer, Harriet and her sidekick Helly, they get themselves into really dangerous situations, and they draw the wrath of those that they seek to punish, but at the same time they test the limits of their friendship, and because they're children they operate just below the threshold of understanding the adult world that surrounds them. And you know, like this is a big book. Not once when I was reading it did it feel that way to me. I think Tart's one of those writers that I could read anything she writes. Like, there's pages and pages where not much action takes place, but so much is said. And, you know, I am totally here for that. But also there is that, like I said, that compelling storyline that ties all of that together. And I love this book. And, you know, as she publishes a book every decade or so, we've probably only got about another year or two before she hopefully brings out something new for us fans to get our teeth into. Question number 3 is a love triangle where the main character ended up with the person that you didn't want them to end up with, or an OTP that you don't like. I have zero idea what an OTP is. And I don't really read books that are centered around love triangles. I think the whole concept of a love triangle is odd anyway, because like the description doesn't work. Because isn't it supposed to be one person who's essentially choosing between two other people? Like, that's not a triangle, that's an upside down V. To be a triangle, those two would need to have some sort of romantic connection as well. And I get the sense that this trope would kind of often involve cheating or leading someone on, and neither of those scenarios is entertaining or, you know, a healthy basis for a relationship. Trust me, as someone whose life was destroyed by a cheating husband, infidelity ain't cute. And if your relationship starts from a place of hurting someone else, I hate to break it, but that isn't the big romance that you think it is. Because, you know, one or both of them are dicks. Yeah, I'm on my soapbox, but it pisses me off how society writes, they just write off cheating, when actually it can often be a form of abuse. And the Cheaties podcast, which I'll link in the description below, did a really good episode on how infidelity is often part of rom-com storylines and made very light of. They were talking about films, but I'm assuming that's probably the case in a lot of romance books as well. But the problem with these portrayals is they often ignore the poor schmuck that has just had their life torn apart. And, you know, if they cheat with you, they'll cheat on you. Where's the romance in that? So no to love triangles, and can we start shipping people who are less morally corrupt, selfish and abusive to find happily ever afters instead? Okay, thanks. Question 4, maybe. A popular book genre that you hardly reach for: fantasy. Particularly any fantasies that involve like realms and royal courts and magic systems, wizards, trolls. Just no. I can't quite put my finger on it, but that stuff just gives me the ick. In the same way anything about royal families or like medieval stuff does too. Those two things are something that fantasy seems to draw a lot from. I mean, I wouldn't turn down like a fairy tale retelling or a story about witches, possibly even vampires, and I love magical realism. But I think the key there is realism. Like, high fantasy is just too much for me. I don't want to spend my time in those worlds. And it's not like I look down on it as a genre or anything. I just know deep in my DNA that it's not for me. A popular or beloved character that you do not like. I can't think of one. I struggle with questions like this because maybe the sort of books that I read don't necessarily have the sorts of characters that make it into the kind of popular canon. And the ones that I can think of, like Shuggy or Eleanor Oliphant, people seem to have similar opinions on them to me. And also, I don't really need to like a character in order to enjoy reading about them. So if I don't like a character, or I don't enjoy reading a character, it's probably because they're bland and forgettable. And if the writers manage that, then it probably means the whole book is bland and forgettable. And, you know, those books, those characters won't be popular or beloved. I'm thinking like the female character from Water for Elephants is a good example. Like the whole book is meant to be this love story. Men are fighting over this woman, but she's just done complete nothing on the page. Like I can't even remember her name. She's so two-dimensional. And that's the sort of character that I don't like, but I can't see that she would be anyone's favourite character, so I don't really have an answer for this one. A popular author that you can't seem to get into, and the first one that sprung to mind for me was Zadie Smith. I don't dislike her work, but I don't really get from her what I thought I was going to. Admittedly, I haven't read White Teeth yet, so that might be the book that changes things. But I read Swing Time and just thought it was a bit average. And then I read her essay collection Intimations at the end of last year, and again, it was just okay. I did like On Beauty more than those two, but I was pretty disappointed that it was set in America and the people that she was writing about, they just weren't the types of characters that I had expected from her when I heard her talk in interviews or on podcasts and things. And I found that with her essays as well, there was a disconnect between her interview self and her writing voice that was just a bit strange to me. I'm wondering if White Teeth, because she wrote it when she was younger, so maybe that is more the book that I'm looking for from Zadie Smith. Whereas I've come in kind of after she's been more sophisticated in her writing. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about anymore. Popular book trope that you are tired of seeing. See my rant about love triangles above, and just cheating in general. Other than that, I think because I'm not a huge series or like genre reader, I don't see many tropes repeating themselves in the books that I read. I don't think it's really a trope, but I can't stand it when characters really false, unrealistic inability to communicate a key piece of information is used in order to just push a plot forward. It's just lazy writing, and I'm not here for that. A popular series that you have no no interest in reading, and where do I start? Game of Thrones, Outlander, Harry Potter, All the Boys I've Loved Before, those Sarah J Maas books, or J Kristoff or Cassandra Clare, like so many of these ones that do the rounds on BookTube, and I just have no interest in ever picking them up. The saying goes, the book is always better than the movie, but what movie or TV show adaptation and do you prefer more than the book? And I was going to say number, actually there was an adaptation of Brave New World by Aldous Huxley on a year or two ago. I think it was like, was that a BBC production? And And that was much better than the book for me, because I found the book quite dull. And I don't think it helped that I listened to it as an audiobook, and the narrator did the most horrendous voice for one of the female characters. It was like nails down a chalkboard. It was really not a good time. But I think the adaptation was pretty good, though I do think it focused more on the sex aspect rather than the consumerism one, which I actually think is a more interesting point. And I do think the series missed a trick with that, but I would rather rewatch that than reread the book. And I think that's got to be the mark of a good job. Oh, and that was it. That was the last question. Okay, I'm a bit worried about editing this because I'm not entirely sure how influenced by morphine I am at the moment, and I might watch it back and be like one of those people in America that you see in cars after they've been to the dentist and they've been given whatever the fuck it is that American dentists give people, where they're just completely off their tits. I do not feel off my tits. I just feel a little bit spacey. So I think I'm just going to take it easy for the rest of the day and hope that that was just a one-off bout of horrendous pain that made me think I was having a heart attack. And that if it is gallstones, that, I mean, I don't know anything about gallstones. Apart from my mum had them and she had to have them removed. I'm going to do a little bit of Googling and hopefully there's like a less dramatic version of that. Because yeah, I just can't be fucking bothered with more pain and more issues, because I just hate hospitals so much. I don't want to have to go to one. Today was enough. Today was enough. But enough about my medical conditions, which quite frankly I don't understand and you probably don't want to hear about. So anyway, feel free to do this tag if you want to. Let me know your thoughts on the opinions that I've shared, and let me know in the comments below, and I will see you next time. Bye. The morphine.